Hello, friends. Chris Corsi here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. Friends, I'm glad you're here. We are continuing our marriage series, this time with some special guests who have a testimony that I think is going to deeply encourage you as it did for me. You see, many things can destroy a marriage, friends. There's a lot of things in this world that can pop a hole in our joy balloons. Marriage can be hard. In many ways, marriage can feel like a furnace. It's exposing our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, some of our struggles, some of our hurts. But you know what? God's plan is to heal and restore and rebuild and reconcile. God created marriage for us so that His name can be glorified and magnified. And friends, we're going to hear from my friend, the Nikki and Clinton, who have a very profound testimony of how God's been working in their lives, what God has done to bring life, to bring joy, to bring peace into their lives and into their marriage. What I really appreciate about the Nikki and Clinton is because they've worked so hard to grow relational skills. So let's go ahead and listen in to see what they have to say about their journey.
So we've been married about 31 years, a little over 31 years. And as anyone can probably relate that is married for some length of time, marriage is kind of a breeding ground for challenges.
Mhm.
And so we've definitely over the course of the years had challenges in our ways of relating, specifically not knowing how to do conflict and not knowing how to do hard things, how to have hard conversations.
Mm.
So some people engage, we both avoided it
Yeah.
and didn't have any clue about relational circuits being on or off or any of those kind of things. We ended up with just generally low capacity in general. And so we survived kind of over the course of those years and our family life, raising kids in just an extremely low joy environment.
Yeah.
So, as you can imagine, that led to pseudo joys and what we call beeps,
Hmm.
which were things that we each relied on to kind of fill in those gaps that don't do a good job of filling in those
Yeah.
gaps. But what we didn't know, what I didn't know at the time years ago, was that there were some pretty destructive
Mm.
pseudo joys and beeps that Clinton was participating in that just really caused a lot of destruction in our
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah. So much so that about a year and a half ago, just before our 30th anniversary, our marriage blew up. The decisions that I had made really shipwrecked our marriage. And nobody plans on being shipwrecked. Like that's just not something that you think about. You don't just say, "Oh, next year this time, we're going to find ourselves on a deserted island and
No.
have to figure it all out," right? So just like a shipwreck, right? Most people, I would say, or dare say, almost all people, are not prepared for that. And so if you found yourself on a deserted island, all of a sudden you don't know necessarily how to build a fire or find food or find water or make shelter or whatever it is,
You
right?
don't have those skills, or you might have one of those skills and not any of the
Yeah,
others.
and one only gets you by so much,
Right.
right? So anyhow, in the same way, society didn't necessarily prepare us for what had happened in our relationship. And so in that, we were pretty desperate. And so we reached out for help, which was a big deal for us. And so reaching out for help, it was such the grace of God. We connected with a couple therapists who knew about life model, knew about relational skills, and they kind of came alongside of us and they said, "Oh, you don't know how to build a fire? Um, Let me show you how to build a fire," which might look like maybe keeping your relational circuits on, right? If we're comparing relational skills to survival skills, if you will. And so, and then, little by little, like they taught us how to share joy with each other, or they taught us how to do some appreciation. Um, and we just clung to that because in that part of our life, we had a desperateness to survive. and we were willing to put in whatever kind of hard work it took in order to achieve that.
Yeah. So a couple of the main relational skills that I think that stood out for us. I remember one particular day we went to our therapist, Kyle, and he was asking us to just share some hard conversation. And I showed up and I was like, I don't even want to be here right now.
That's
Like
true.
my RCs are off. They're trying to get away from a feeling, making this problem go away, all
You
of
didn't
it.
even know
I did.
RCs were at that point,
Right.
but that's okay.
But he said to me, "Are you willing to try something?" And I said, "Sure. I'm willing to give it a try.
Mhm.
I doubt it'll work, but I'm willing." And so he had us share gratitude and appreciation with one another. And so he said, share something that you're grateful for in general. I want you to share something that you are grateful to the Lord about, and then something that you are grateful to or appreciate about each other.
Mhm.
And so we went back and forth and did this. And by the end of it, I was like, what kind of magic trick did he just perform? Because
Right.
I feel like I want to be here right now.
Yeah. It was really amazing.
Yeah,
It
and
really
so
was.
there have been several skills that are really vital to us, including appreciation that we do daily now,
Yeah.
sharing joy with one another, learning how to quiet
Yeah.
and take a breather when one or the other of us needs to do that. As you can imagine, in really challenging marital situations, we had to learn how to come back to joy
Yeah.
from lots of different really hard emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there were many skills that we practiced regularly. But I think what is more important to me is not that it was just something that we kind of practiced or, hey, let's get that relational skill book out and try something. It became a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was a lifeline for us because if we didn't dive into this, our marriage might not have survived.
Right. Yeah.
And so it really truly has been something that we practice with one another daily. We practice with our adult children now, with our relatives that don't even maybe know that we're practicing them,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
do it anyway with our community, our friends.
Yeah.
And
Well,
as we're sharing this and people noticing a difference in us, then they're actually practicing as well and sharing it with their communities. So we're seeing fruit coming, not just from us practicing and engaging in these relational skills, but from us sharing it and them spreading it as well.
yeah. Yeah. We really wove it into the fabric of our life, like, and I think that I really love relational skills, and we've talked to lots of people. We just got done doing track one, and it was really great. And we've talked to lots of people, and there's some part of it where until you really make it a lifestyle, it really can't be transformative.
Yeah.
Um, and so for us, we've seen just incredible transformation in our lives
Yeah.
simply because it's holistic for us.
All right, friends, I told you that was something special right there. Nikki and Clinton really brought it home here. They've talked about like how important it was for them to learn to do hard things and to better navigate conflict, right? They were dealing with some really hard stuff, and low capacity makes life very hard. Makes it hard to parent children and makes it hard to function. And Clinton really shared his heart, about some of the struggles that he had and really how both Nikki and Clinton found hope. They found help and support when they discovered the life model through their friends and the therapists that were helping them. They were discovering that relational skills were missing. These crucial skills were missing, and that they could learn these skills. And as they started to practice these skills, they started to grow capacity. They started to live more relationally centered with their relational legs under them. They could share gratitude and practice appreciation. They were learning to return to joy from their upsets. And you know what? These are crucial skills, my friends. We learn to better manage what we feel. We learn that we will not die but live when big, strong feelings show up. We can feel our feelings, share our feelings, calm and quiet our feelings. So now they've been not only practicing these skills in their own lives, but now they're an inspiration to others. They're being a clarion call for others to learn about the relational skills that God has used to change their lives. So their story has given us much hope and much encouragement that all of us, no matter where we are, no matter where our marriage is, can heal, can grow, and can recover. Well, friends, there's more good stuff where this came from. I want to invite you to visit thrivetoday.org. You can see our conflict course, which is a great resource that walks you through the skills necessary to really be able to resolve conflicts. We have the Four Habits of Joyful Marriages book. We even have an accompanying marriage course that's going to be released soon. Very excited about that. You can check the episode description for more info on that. And you can join us at Thrive Today at Thrive Training our in-person trainings. That's what they were able to do. Nikki and Clinton were able to attend track one. They got a lot of good momentum going there. I also want to give a shout out. They have a book, Glory from the Ashes, and I want to encourage you to check out their book. You'll be very inspired by their words and by their story. So, friends, may this be the start of something good for you today.